everybody, welcome back to the Evan Jen channel. Right now it's only gonna be me, Jen. I actually thought it would be a fun video to talk about my crazy love experiences, my dating experiences, whatever. I just thought that it'd be something cool to speak about and for you guys to know, and just so everybody can see the drama that I've gone through in my life, probably people can experience. I actually did this video because I saw Desi Perkins speak on this, and I saw a story that really related to one of mine, and I just thought, hey, why don't I tell my story? So let me speak on, I'll start from way back then. So I'll start with my high school tragic love stories that resulted in me ending up in a fight. So what happened was I was dating this guy. I started dating him in 8th grade. I'm not gonna speak on names because I don't want to put him out there. So I was dating this guy, and what happened was we were like real cool, but we ended up breaking up, and he ended up getting another girlfriend. And so the other girlfriend, she was like, me and him. Get out of here. So the other girlfriend, she would get really jealous because what happened was me and him broke up, but we still stayed friends and we were really, really cool. So she didn't like the fact that I talked to him, and I think it was just whatever. So she didn't like the fact that I talked to him, and I actually ended up getting broken up over him, which is crazy. So I'll say that story first. So I still kept him as a friend because I did really like him or whatever. I was in love with this guy for like 4 or 5 years. But the first disaster that happened with him, I started dating somebody new, and I really liked the new guy, and I really liked him, but I still had this other guy as a friend, and I was like, let me keep him as a friend, blah blah. So one day I was on the phone with my new man or whatever. So I was on the phone with him, and because he would tell me, oh, wake me up so I can go to work, wake me up for work, wake me up for work. So I was like, okay, I would wake him up for work. So one day I was on the phone with him, and so I see that I'm getting a call from the ex. So I'm like, man, should I answer him? This is weird. He never calls me this early. So I'm like, okay, whatever, just answer him. So I answer him. I tell boyfriend, I'm like, hey, I'm really sleepy, I'm going back to sleep. So I know that was me, karma got me. So I was like, I'm going back to sleep, and he's like, okay, that's fine, like text me when you're up. And I'm like, okay. So I answer the other call, and this dude is like, hey, I need a favor from you. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, oh, can you tell my girlfriend that me and you are together because I want to leave her, I want her to break up with me. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, are you kidding me? And then I'm like, that's gonna cause me problems. And he's like, no, like, your boyfriend doesn't have to find out. Just tell her that we're together so she can leave me alone. And I'm like, whatever, okay, I'll do it. And so then, actually, I never mentioned the other boyfriend. I was just like, okay, I'll do it, because I didn't think nothing of it. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Well, after that, I texted my new boyfriend, and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm awake now. I didn't hear nothing from him. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird. He would have texted me back by now. So I'm calling him, and I'm texting him, and nothing. This guy ignored me, and I was like, dude, it felt really wrong. And I'm like, the only possible thing that could have happened is he heard the phone call. So I'm like, shit, like he probably heard. I probably accidentally put it on 3-way. So for the longest time, for like a month, like nothing. And finally one day he was like, leave me alone. I heard the phone call. I know you have another boyfriend, and behind my back, and I'm like, no, let me explain. Like, I don't have anybody else. I was just, whatever. And he never wanted anything to do with me again. And so that's where that one ended. So that ended with him, but that ex still, so he was back and forth with that girl that he had told me like to tell her, blah blah blah. He was back and forth with her. So at school, I went to school with her, and he didn't go to school because he was a little gangster, so he fucking got kicked out or whatever, or dropped out, I don't know what the fuck. So at school, she would always bump into me, and I was like, okay, like this is getting really annoying. She's like bumping into me, and so one day, I guess, like she bumped into me, and I was just like, what the fuck, bitch? And then she was like, oh, what the fuck, da, da, da. So then we ended up fucking fighting in school, like you know when your adrenaline is like pumping, you don't even know what's going on. So like next thing you know, hella people are around us recording everything, and I'm like, this is fucking embarrassing. Like everybody's gonna think, the first thought that came to my mind was my parents are gonna think I fought for a guy, and that was like, I didn't. It was like had nothing to do with him because I didn't give a fuck. Like I didn't want to be with him. It was just the fact that, you know, she was just so jealous over it, and I was like, man, that I still talk to him, so I was like, man, it's fucking embarrassing. So then they're like, all right, my sister went to school with me at the time. So then I'm walking over to the office, and I get to the office and I start crying because I'm like, my parents are gonna kill me, they're gonna be so mad. And so then the teacher, the principal, she was like, hey, calm down, we're not gonna tell your parents, we need to talk about this right now. And I'm like, okay. But then they come in, they're like, did you call your parents? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, somebody already called your parents and they're on your way. And I'm like, oh. So I'm crying even more because I'm like, fuck, my parents found out, they're gonna fucking kill me. And then my sister was the one who fucking snitched, and I was like, fuck. So then my parents got there and they were like, what did you do? Da-da-da-da. And they got like all mad. But then I was like, I didn't fight for him, it was because she kept bumping into me. Every day she would fucking bump into me with her shoulder on purpose just because I talked to him. And so then they were like, all right, like, you know, blah, blah. And then they hated him after that, and they never wanted me to talk to him again. But I still talked to him for a long time, actually until recently. But yeah, we don't talk anymore. But it was my first fight over, not over a guy, but because, kind of, I guess, about a guy. So anyway, that's my first story. So my second story is one that happened while I was, you know what, I'm not going to give too much details about this, but so it was in the military. So I was talking to this guy who was like really, I guess we were both crazy, I don't fucking know, but I'm a really jealous person when I'm with somebody. It's not me though, like they make me fucking like that. I'm not crazy, they make me fucking crazy. But right, I'm not crazy. So anyways, I was talking to this guy and he was like, oh, whatever. He was like super jealous too. So obviously two jealous people are not okay with each other. But he was really jealous, and I had this other friend that I was really close to, and it would like bother him every time I talked to the other guy. It would like bother him, or it would bother him when I talked to any guy. But you know, it's kind of my fault because I started playing, and I would be like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. But like, I guess I did care, whatever. So anyways, so one day this guy was all like, oh, where you at? And I was hanging out with this other guy. So then I was like, oh, the other guy who was just my friend. And I was like, oh, I'm over here. So I totally lied about where I was at because I was scared of him. I didn't want him to know where I was really at because I was really scared of him. So then I was all like, ruining my motherfucking video. So back to my story. So I was scared of him, so I totally lied about where I was at. And so I was hanging out with my friend or whatever, and we were watching a movie. And then I told him like, oh dude, he's asking where I'm at, but I'm not gonna tell him where I'm at because I'm scared of him. And he's like, dude, like just tell him the truth. And I'm like, nah, fuck that, because you don't know him, like I know him. And so then he was like, all right, whatever. So I don't even know if I should say this story because he's probably gonna be pissed off, but whatever. So then it's not like I talked to him. So anyways, so I'm in this dude's room or whatever, and so we're chilling, and this dude's like calling me, blowing up my phone, and I'm like, whatever, like he's gonna eventually stop. And so then I don't know what the fuck happened. I end up falling asleep, like with my friend or whatever, and like next thing you know, we fucking hear like banging on the door, and I'm like, oh no, like fuck the fuck. And I look at my phone, and I literally had like over 50 missed calls and like hella text messages, and I'm like, fuck, like it's him. And I'm like, dude, like my heart's beating fucking fast. I'm shaking. I'm like, dude, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And he's like, my friend's like, dude, like just open the door. We're not fucking doing nothing. And then I was like, no, because like I'm fucking scared. And he's like, just fucking open the door. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, and he's like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm sleeping. And I'm like, thanks, dude. Like, you're just gonna fucking leave me, like, whatever, you know? So I'm like, whatever. So I open the door and I'm like, what? And he like fucking snatches me, like pulls me like by my arm, and he's like, get your fucking shit, let's fucking go. And I'm like, dude, relax. And I start laughing, which just pissed him off more. And I'm like, you're acting like I'm your wife right now. And he's all like, oh yeah, like you want to be a fucking hoe? I'm like, I'm not doing shit, like I'm not doing anything, relax. And he's like, nah, fuck that, grab your fucking card, let's go, we're going to your fucking room right now. And I'm like, okay, I'll grab my stuff. So I grab my stuff. So we're leaving, we're walking out, he like snatches my phone, and he's all like, oh, like he's just talking hella shit, and he's like, you're a fucking hoe, I can't believe you. I'm like, okay, if I'm a hoe, why do you want me to go with you? Like, just leave me alone. Like, I wasn't doing anything, but if you obviously thinking that I'm doing something, so just leave me alone. He's like, no, because if I can't have you, you're not gonna be with nobody fucking else. And he like fucking throws my phone on the ground, and I'm like, bruh, like, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're gonna buy me a new fucking phone. He's like, no, the fuck I'm not. I hope you're fucking broke so you can't talk to nobody. And I'm like, oh god. So then as I'm walking back, I grab my cards from my pocket, and I realized that I grabbed the wrong ID card. Like, I grabbed my friend's instead of grabbing mine. So I'm like, shit. I'm like, hey, I grabbed the wrong card. He's like, really? Really? You did that shit on fucking purpose? He's like, we're going fucking back right now. And I'm like, okay. So we go back, and he's like, go fucking get your card. And I'm like, okay. And in my head, I'm like, why am I dealing with this, you know? But I was like, whatever. I used to like the jealousy thing, so like to me, I was like, okay, boy, you're jealous. But anyway, so then I was like, okay, whatever. And so I grabbed my card back, and so we're going back to my room. Oh, no, we were downstairs. So there's the staff duty people, which for those of you who are in the military, they're people who watch where you live, where everybody lives, in case anything happens. So they were like, hey dude, they're like, is this the girl you asked us to check the door for, to check if she was okay? And he's like, yeah, she's okay. And then they knew that something was up, so they're like, bro, like, don't ever do that shit again, because we can get in trouble. Like, you made us open her door. And I'm like, and that's when I was like, oh no, like, this is bad. So then he goes, the guy leaves, and I'm like, you really had them open my room door? And he's all like, yeah, I fucking did. And I'm like, oh. So then I go back, and I'm walking back to my room, and I see like fucking mud footprints all the way leading up to my door. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, I fucking went and I checked through your window to see if you were in there, and you fucking weren't. So I had to fucking go inside and check and knock on your door, and you obviously weren't. Your door was fucking locked, so I obviously knew where you were. And I'm like, oh my god. And that's when I was like, you know what, like, I can't deal with this. Like, this is too much. You went too far. Like, you really went and looked through my window just to check if I was there. So then after that, like, I was like, okay, you can leave now. Like, I'm done. I want nothing to do with you. And he's like, no, I'm not leaving. Like, because we went into my room, and I'm like, he's like, I'm not leaving. And I'm like, oh my god, just fucking leave. And he's all like, no, I'm sitting here until you fall asleep, so I know that you don't go nowhere else. And I'm like, oh, like, oh my god, you're fucking crazy. So then after that, I ended up, like, I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm fucking going to sleep. Like, I can't believe I'm dealing with this right now. So I ended up falling asleep, and then I woke up, so he was gone. And then the next day, like, he like tried to tell me, he was like, oh, he's like, you know what, I can't talk to you anymore because you really made me act like somebody who I'm not. This isn't what I act like, but you make me be fucking crazy. And I'm like, I don't fucking make you do shit, like, you're fucking crazy. But then I was like, yeah, like, that was too far. And then he was like, so then we agreed that was too fucking far. But then it was crazy because he would still like fucking be crazy. Like, if I was at the club talking to somebody else, like, he'd be crazy. But we ended up kind of being friends, but it was still like, obviously you can't be friends when you have something like that with somebody. You can't really be friends anymore after that. But yeah, we just ended up we were cool with each other, and that was it. We just never talked again after I left Italy. And then my third story, so I was like, man, my third story was about a cheap guy. So what happened was I met this guy and I was like, oh, like he was really nice, you know. So I'm like, man, what a nice guy, blah blah. And he was like, man, you're so beautiful, da, 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 like let's hang out. And he was so sweet. So I was like, all right, you know what, let's hang out. And he's like, well, I don't have a car right now, like my car's getting fixed, so can you pick me up? And I'm like, okay, sure, like I'll pick you up. So he's like, all right, like you want to go to the movies or something? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we're like talking still, we still haven't like gone out on a date. So then he was like messaging me like, hey, you should get the movie tickets. And I'm like, me get the movie tickets to put? So then I'm like, shouldn't the guy be like, oh, you know, I'm not the type to be like, oh, a guy has to pay for everything, because I've gone out with guys whenever, like, if they pay a lot, I'm like, okay, let me pay the rest, because that's how it should be, you know. You shouldn't, as a female, you should never think that a guy has to pay everything, because he doesn't, you know, especially if you're making your own money. If you think like that, like, especially if you want to be treated as equal, whatever. So anyway, so then I was like, okay, dude, like, we haven't even done anything yet, so for the first time you should be the one paying. But he was like, oh, come on, like I haven't gotten paid yet. So I'm making up all the excuses in the world, and I'm like, you know what, like maybe we shouldn't go, we can just do something else. And so he ended up like, I think like he saw that I wasn't gonna pay, so he was like, hey, I bought the movie tickets already. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm like, cool. So he's like, all right, like you're gonna pick me up to go? And I'm like, sure, I'll pick you up. So I pick him up and we go to the movies. And at the movies, he's all like, we get there, and he's all like, oh, you want something to eat? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you know, because he offered. So I'm like, okay, sure. And so he goes, he doesn't even ask me what I want, if I want to drink, like nothing. He's just like, oh, can I get like a medium bag of popcorn? And they give him a bag of popcorn, and that's it. So I'm like, okay, am I like thinking too deep into this or what? So he gets a bag of popcorn. I'm not about to be like, well, you didn't get us drink, and sound like snobby. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So we're going to the movies and we're chilling, and I'm like, okay, let me eat the bag of popcorn, not to be rude, but I normally wouldn't eat this without a drink. So like my mouth is dry as fuck. I'm hella thirsty. So at this point I'm thinking, you know what, after this I'm gonna go to Burger King and I'm gonna say, oh, I got us, you know, I got us already since you paid, whatever. I'll be nice about it. So we fucking leave the movie theaters, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, like thirsty, I'm gonna go Burger King, because there was the Burger King right in front. He's like, okay. And so we're going through the drive-thru, and I'm like, oh, like I got it, you know, don't worry, so get whatever you want. I'm like, I'm just gonna get a drink. And he's like, okay. So he orders like a whole meal or whatever. And then like I was like, I just ordered a lemonade. I shouldn't say, but he was all like, oh, I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I said. And then I said something about like paying it, and then he's all like, yeah, because I already spent hella money. And I'm like, excuse me, you spent about $20. And he's like, to be exact, it was like $24. And that's when I knew, like, you know what, dude, no, like, I'm done with you. At that point, I was like, I'll be his friend, but that's it. Like, I can't be nothing else with him, because like I don't want to be fucked up and be like, you're a fucking cheap ass. But it's just like, dude, really? Like, you're gonna say you spent all this money on me when you spent $20? And so then I ended up paying, and then we went our separate ways. I still talked to him like for a while afterward, but I just never wanted to go back out anywhere with him, obviously. And so we talked, and then we just ended up ending things. I was like, you know what, I'm just not as into it as you are, so I'm sorry. And yeah, I think those are my 3 craziest love stories, besides my baby daddy story, but I'm not going to speak on that. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. Thumbs up if you guys liked it, and see y'all later.